Good morning. It is Saturday, March 25th, and this is my second drive with FSD Beta 11.3.3. Good job with FSD, by the way, just doing a good job of navigating around that tough intersection with very poor visibility to both sides. But this is my second drive with FSD Beta 11.3.3. I'm going to be doing kind of a new route just for fun here. We're going to go kind of a roundabout way to my favorite bakery. So looking forward to getting some donuts. But on the way there, we're going to test some things. We're going to test the highway functionality, make sure there's no regressions there. I don't expect any, but we'll test that. And we will also test some city street driving around some previously tough positions, one of which is in North Minneapolis that I commonly would traverse as part of my work test loop. So since I'm not going to the office until Monday, I kind of want to just test ahead of time and see if that area is still fixed as of 11.3.1. So two interventions there I want to call out. Two speed adjustments. The speed limits are continuing to be wrong on all residential roads in Minneapolis and St. Paul. So I continue to adjust the throttle inputs there, or the speed limit settings. So Tesla, if you're listening, please fix the map data. It's been something that I have to do every single time I drive FSD Beta. So, and then I wanted to go across this intersection up here and go straight across, but it looks like a water main broke. So we're not going to be able to test that for a little bit longer, unfortunately. And I'm going to try something here just for fun. This guy's trying to make an illegal right turn even though there's a no turn on red sign. I want to see if I can get the car to stop here. Alright, so I've gotten the car to completely stop, so this is my workaround until, they have better sign detection for no turn on red. So, and the car is proceeding now, just a little slowly. And it looks like it still avoids that right turn lane there for whatever reason. Interesting. So, again, a couple of interventions. I could have disengaged as well, but I want to keep it engaged as much as I can just to kind of see what it does. So that was an experiment that I've never tried before, but good to see that actually works. So, again, a good measure. Once sign detection gets a little better, we're going to be in a much better spot. And again, the car is stopping at the spot here, so somebody got annoyed for my slowing there, but I've experienced that before with version 11, so I'm not sure what's going on, what the car sees. You can see on the screen, nothing really came to mind, so really bizarre. Good behavior there, no choppy throttle inputs, that's awesome. So I'm ending the navigation now. We're going to switch to our second waypoint. Good job staying to the right. All right, and that should update our nav there. Great. So we're going to hit a bunch of stop signs here for the next few minutes here on this route. Stopping for sign, that's interesting. It almost detected that transit sign as a stop sign, I think. That was really interesting. So I'm going to report that. That's the first time I've seen that behavior before. Alright, so this is one of our first unprotected right turns that we're going to make here today. So this is University Avenue. Little jerky behavior there. A little too much throttle as it creeped forward, but ultimately made the right move there. Confidently proceeded when needed to, but I would have preferred it to just slow the speed at which it was creeping there. Just accelerated a little too much for my liking. Alright, and then this is our left turn onto 44th Avenue Northeast. We're going to kind of cross over here and get onto East River Road and then head towards North Minneapolis. So this will be a new route. I don't think I've recorded this route before, so this is something new. We'll have to keep an eye out on potholes. There are some massive ones that looks like that we might be crossing here, so if they get bad enough, I will be disengaging to avoid those. We're going to let it try to do its thing here. Looks like we're going to avoid the big one, which is good. Another good behavior with that intersection there. No excessive hesitation. Alright, and then now we are going to plug in our address in North Minneapolis here. That should take us the rest of the way. So it looks like we... Alright, I was about to say we were in the wrong lane, but they both kind of go to where we need to go, so the car is making a last-second correction on that. Honestly, it wasn't needed. So it seems like the car still is unable to read. You can see how it's kind of visualized on the screen here, but there is that is a basically all directions lane. You can turn left, you can turn right, you can go straight. So not sure why the car felt the need to make that last-second lane change. It was not necessary. But it kind of shows right there the way it was rendered that it doesn't quite understand yet all of the road markings as far as, you know, lane designation and things like that. So I'm going to actually kill nav, and I'm going to go up to here, and we're going to select a waypoint here. I'm going to try to repeat some of my work test loop route up here. So we're going to end up in North Minneapolis still. It's just going to be a slightly different, I'd say more challenging route. Good job getting over to that space of road there. Looked like it completely eroded, so... I'm going to actually get over there. We were getting a little too close to that snowbank. It looked like a bunch of ice and snow kind of packed into the right there by the bridge, so I'm going to avoid that. Good job navigating around that cone there. Okay, so now we are on St. Anthony Parkway. So I'm going to kill the nav here, and then we're going to change the waypoint again. Awesome. Alright, so now we are on basically my work test loop, at least a certain portion of it that avoids a lot of the pothole roads, unfortunately, that we have near my neighborhood. Just want to see kind of how it does around these curves here. The snowbanks are finally melting, so the larger bike path that's to our left right now is now visible again. So I want to see if it kind of renders it as drivable space, or like a road, if you will. But, you know, even though I can see it, let's see if it sees it up here. Yeah, it's not showing it on the visualizations there. So that's good. So that's definitely an improvement over the other builds. As the snow melts a little more, I'll keep an eye on that, but that would cause problems for us in the past, and the car would kind of stray towards the center and treat that like a one-way, which it's obviously not, so. And very confident behavior around that S-curve there. That was really good. Alright, we are clear on both sides. So we're going to have to kind of peek out a little bit here to confirm nobody's coming. And we are going. And we are making the right lane selection after that left turn. Alright, we got a flashing yellow here. I want to see what the car does. I'm going to let it sit out for a sec if it has to. And it is proceeding on its own. Very good. Obviously, would prefer it not to pause at all, but the fact that it's proceeding with the flashing yellow on its own is something it's never really done before, which is really good. I'm switching the nav up here so it takes us on to I-94 east, and then also puts us eventually on 394 west. Car's doing a great job navigating around the poorly marked roads here. A lot of the paint lines are pretty heavily erased, I'm sure from road solids and snow plows. So, but no seesawing on the wheel. Good job navigating around parked cars and doing its best to stay to the right. Another good job making that left turn on a Dowling Avenue North here. And then this is the spot here. Let's see if the car stays to the right as it should, like it did before. And it's confidently staying to the right. You can see it's very poorly marked. There's potholes. We're kind of in a shared bike lane right here. And the car is doing a fantastic job navigating the section again. This is great. And getting over right to the left. That's perfect. So, again, version 11 demonstrates so much improvement. I can't underscore it enough. You go back and look at my old 10.69 videos, and even before from my work test loop, you'll see how bad the behavior used to be there. It was very jerky, very unconfident. It was just, you had to constantly apply throttle input if you were trying to use FSD through that section, and it would actually make the wrong lane selection numerous times. So if you had people behind you, you would be disengaging a few times. And on the best day, you were maybe getting through it, but it was very jerky. The wheel was constantly seesawing, and you saw back there, the car was as confident as it's ever been through that section, and that continues to be a very, very good enhancement or improvement area that I've noticed with every version 11 build so far. If anything, that was probably even a little more confident than what I remember seeing from 11.3.1 and .2. So I'm really happy to see like improvements like that, because that's not an easy section of road to navigate. Poorly marked roads, there's potholes, there's several lane changes that need to be made right off the bat to follow the correct route, and the car does a great job of navigating that section now. So, it's great when I see areas like that be tackled by FSD now. We have some other areas where it makes mistakes that I think are a lot easier to solve for, so we're doing the hard stuff in a lot of areas. We just need to get some of the easier things kind of tackled, and we'll be there, right? The intersection by my house is a great example where the car picks the wrong lane and then tries and doesn't correct for it, Some of that's just bad map data. If Tesla started using the vision system to update their maps, even if they were rough maps, it would go a long way in solving a lot of disengagements, right? So I know long-term Tesla wants to not be dependent on nav data, but until they're able to update lane marking detections and detections for no, don't turn on red signs, things like that. Some nav data is going to be needed for lane selection and whatnot. So I hope at some point they do update some of the maps, because the maps around the Twin Cities they're 3+ years old now, and it causes a lot of interventions like the speed limit one I mentioned at the beginning of this video and whatnot. So but I digress. And it's hard to tell if you're watching, from a computer or whatever, but like the smoothness of deceleration now is just, it's so much more human-like. It used to be very robotic as we were on this on-ramp here on the 394 in the past with Navigate and Autopilot. It would be very choppy in how it would cut speed, and it would do it way too early. As you saw there, we carried about 50 miles an hour until we were about 100 yards or so from that right turn, at which point it used I couldn't feel any mechanical brake usage there. It seemed like it was all regen. Very smooth, as if I was driving. So the behavior is definitely much better when you're having to make a transition from high to low speeds. That's been a strength with every V11 build I've tested so far, so no regressions there. And as you kind of see there, I'm going to up the speed here a little bit, but the car does a great job when it wants to get over to make a speed-based lane change, and the lane we're trying to get into is going a little faster. The car does accelerate now before we've initiated our turn, or as we're initiating, I should say, while we're still in the lane. So that's behavior that was never there before with Navigate and Autopilot. It was so timid when it came to auto lane changes. So I think when folks get this build, you know, hopefully 11.3.3 goes wide to everybody. I know many of you have been waiting patiently, and I've been hoping, keep my fingers crossed for you, that 11.3.2 was the build that was going to go wide. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but when you all get this build, hopefully later this weekend or this coming week, you're going to immediately recognize the improvements on the highway. It's just, it's a night and day difference in a lot of cases. So, and now I'm going to change our nav to the bakery that I mentioned we were going to go to at the beginning of this video. Great job handling those flashing yellow ramp meter lights. That continues to be a noticeable improvement with version 11, especially as you enter highways. In Minnesota, for whatever reason, man, those were some deep potholes there. In Minnesota, we leave our ramp meter lights on the weekends, and when they're not in use, just flashing yellow for whatever reason. So previously with Navigate and Autopilot, the car would be very jerky. Even FSD, I think when it was still engaged, would be very jerky at detecting those. It's super confident now. So they definitely applied a lot of training, it seems like, with version 11 on making it better at detecting those flashing yellow, lights just across the board. And it shows. Great job handling those merging cars there. We're on Highway 100 South right now, and the car didn't hesitate at all for those cars. It blended in very nicely. So again, that's something that I would have expected some heavy braking on with Navigate and Autopilot in the past. That's no longer there. So again, the highway functionality that is in single stack FSD as of version 11 is a big step forward. A lot of folks are going to find it far less taxing to operate. It's just not limited in the same ways that Navigate and Autopilot was. And Navigate and Autopilot was good for its time, but this new solution is much better, and I can't say it enough. Is calling out to, we're getting over for larger trucks and semis still in 11.3.3. That behavior was something that I really appreciated and recognized in .1 and .2. The car would definitely do it it seems like every single time. It was a semi or a large truck with a trailer or whatever. School buses, I've seen touring buses, it does the same behavior for those. It moves over within our lane away from them, much like a good human driver would do. So that behavior is awesome. It's a safety thing, but it's also just a comfort everything for me as well. Giving those bigger vehicles more space is definitely preferred. Alright, so we are now exiting I-694 east here. We are going to be exiting onto Central Avenue, and then this should take us to Heights Bakery. So we just got a few more turns, and then we'll be there. Good job making that early lane selection by getting over in the right lane here. This is the only lane that turns right up here. We do have it green, but we are slowing a little bit here. Let's see what we're doing. All right, good behavior. And very confident with the left turn, or right turn there. That was awesome. And then an immediate lane change over to merge onto Central Avenue. Flawless there, no complaints. Looks like we're trying to get over to the left here because we do need to get over at some point. So we do have to get over before this next, not this intersection, but the next one. So I'm going to let the car do its thing here. Let's see if it can do it. It's going to have to kind of thread the needle here. Looks like the car to our left is actually exiting, which we missed an opportunity there to get over. But it looks like it still might work out for us. Let's see. We're going to have to get over now. And awesome job just taking care of both lane changes right off the bat, not doing the one and then the two. That was perfect. I wouldn't have waited as long. We definitely had a window that we missed back there. So again, room for improvement, but it gets the job done. So that was very good. So we just had this left turn, and then we got an immediate right turn to get into the parking lot, and we'll be at our destination here. Good job with that left then right turn. And now I'm going to take over because we're in the parking lot, and there are some massive potholes here. So, you know, overall, I think a pretty darn impressive drive. Obviously, at the beginning, we had some interventions with the no turn on red sign, but no disengagements from what I recall. So, you know, honestly, really good behavior. I haven't recognized any regressions so far in my several drives now with 11.3.3. So fingers crossed, guys, that this is the release that goes wide to everybody else. I know folks have been eagerly waiting since I think Thanksgiving was the originally promised time frame for version 11. So it'll be worth the wait, though. From what I can tell, this has been a really good build so far and should fix a lot of issues for many folks out there. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.